So, you played already Iris and the flamenco. And what else you play? Can you also show something more?
Yes, so I can play some a little bit of a very famous classical guitar
Please, please,
piece that
please,
comes from Spain.
please.
It's called Recuerdos de la Alhambra.
Okay.
It goes like this. This was just a little part of it.
Hmm.
Or one more very famous Spanish piece is
Uh-huh.
Asturias. It
Okay.
goes like this.
Nice, beautiful. Okay, now we have a questions. Like I have a questions in my
Okay.
mind that can you show what is the difference between Western classical and West like Irish and flamenco? Like, can you like explain what is the difference between?
So
As
I
you
would
said, as you said that Western the guitar comes from Spain.
yes, the guitar comes from Spain.
Yeah,
I would say that flamenco and Irish music is not classical music because it's folk music.
it's a folk music.
It's
Okay.
music that comes from the people. Yeah, it's usually not written down so much, but
Uh-huh.
it just also goes from generation to generation.
Uh-huh.
And classical music is usually written by composers.
Mm-hmm.
So it has more of a tradition where it's written down, and it's a bit more complex, like musically.
Uh-huh.
Not always,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, and that originates from actually classical music originates from the church, so it's more like
Hmm.
the very early classical music, or you could call it Gregorian music, which is coming from the church, and that
Okay.
was only vocal, it was only singing. Then later period was Renaissance, and after Renaissance comes the Baroque period.
Okay.
Johann Sebastian Bach is the most famous Baroque composer.
Okay.
After Baroque comes actually the classical era,
Ah.
and there we have Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. He's a very
Yes,
famous
yes, yes.
composer.
I have
And
heard him a
after
lot.
classical comes Romantic period.
Okay.
Beethoven, for
Yeah,
example,
yeah,
very romantic.
Uh-huh.
Chopin also.
Mm-hmm.
And after the Romantic comes the contemporary era, so that's the 20th century.
Huh.
Yeah, so classical music is actually a very broad thing, which has many, many periods in time with different styles, and you can play it on many different kinds of instruments as well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, explain more about what is Western classical music. You know, like I'm sure there is many in India. We have, we have Indian classical music, and we have also folk music.
Yeah.
and we have different kind of variations and different kinds of music. I would say in vocal, if we talk, we have khayal, but before khayal music, we had Drupad music,
Uh-huh.
which was Drupad music was more about praying, like to the
Yes,
god.
it's like Gregorian.
Yeah, and then the khayal come, which was more like there is a lots of many lyrics in the khayal music. It's more romantic.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so I'm sure um, in Western classical music, like you already explained, like what comes after,
Yeah.
and so we have some. Sorry.
No worries.
Uh, give us some explanations about what is Western classical music.
Yeah, it's difficult to answer that question one.
Yeah, I
Of
could
course,
understand
because it's
it.
many things.
But something which will be good for the students in India who want to learn Western classical music or who want to understand how Western classical music works.
Yes. So in the beginning, it started with the singing in church. So this is very. This was always very monotonic. So it means you only have one melody line,
Uh huh.
and everybody sings the same melody.
Okay.
So, and then later, when it developed, it became more and more harmonic, which means, so if you have one melody, for example, everyone would sing this. But if it has a harmony,
Uh huh.
then it could sound like this. So there's a second voice under it, which goes, or it goes one note, or it goes with the other melody. So this is harmony.
Yeah.
And the more time developed, the more complex these harmonies became, actually. And then in the Baroque period, the harmonies were very complex. So one melody is doing one thing, another melody is doing its own thing, and it's independent of the other. This is called polyphonic music.
Polyphonic music.
Yes. Yeah, and then the more instruments came, the more complex also the orchestration of the music became. So in the classical era, for example, where Mozart was writing music, he was using all of the orchestra to create so many different sounds, so you can have a whole world of different colors and different expressions just by changing the instrumentation. There were brass instruments, woodwind instruments, string instruments like violin, cello. Then there was, before there was a piano, there was a harpsichord. Yeah, there were a lot of different colors of instruments merged together in the orchestra.
Yeah.
And then in the Romantic period, this was I think at its top where the composers were being very creative with the orchestration, as you call it, of the orchestra.
Wow.
Yes.
So, do you play also with the orchestra sometime?
No, actually not, because a guitar is not really an instrument that goes usually goes in an orchestra.
Okay.
Because it just sounds too soft. You can have sometimes you can have a guitar as a soloist. There's a very famous guitar concerto Concerto de Aranjuez, it's called, by a Spanish composer as well, Rodrigo. But I have never played this, but then the orchestra has to play very softly, because otherwise you just don't hear the guitar. But I do play. I play, for example, with singers. I accompany a singer. I play with duos, so like guitar and viola, guitar and violin, guitar and flutes, or 2 guitars together, or 3 guitars together. This like smaller ensembles, I do play in different shapes. Yes.
So, can you please play any one melody from the Western classical music, any piece what you really like, and then can you explain about that particular piece, how it's work, and a little bit more like, well, we don't have here like we can write or something, but can you explain about more little bit of theory of that things, like that piece or any piece you like?
Yeah,
That
I can
also how the rhythm works in that something. As I said, it's more about for those student who is beginner and they want to go in Western classical music and they want, so this video would help them.
Yes. Okay.
So
So I'm gonna play a piece by, it's a very famous classical piece by Satie.
sorry, Sati.
Yeah, Satie, Erik Satie.
Okay.
He wrote a lot of music for piano, so this is actually written for the piano, but I'm going to play it on this guitar.
Wow.
It's called the Gnossienne, number 1. So it goes like this.
sounds very good, and actually it's very beautiful melody. What do you call this melody? Because
The piece,
yeah,
it's called the Gnossienne.
Gnossienne.
Yes, there are a few Gnossiennes, and this
Okay.
is the first one
Okay.
by Erik Satie. Yes, yes, I really love the melody as well. It's very very beautiful.
It is. It is beautiful.
And
So sorry. What
yeah,
you?
no, go.
So please explain about this more, if you can.
Yes, so there is a melody. Actually, there's three different parts in the music. There is a bass, this, and it goes in four beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then there is the accompaniment. Which
Okay.
is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So on the 2 and the 4, there is the accompaniment.
Huh.
And this is the base of the song.
Okay.
It's very simple actually, but still so beautiful.
Yeah.
And there over this it comes the melody.
Nice.
So and then in the second part the chord changes. So it's not this E minor.
Okay.
It becomes A minor.
Huh.
So it's A minor. And then goes back to E minor.
Huh.
A minor. E minor. So the whole song is E minor and A minor. The key of the song is E minor.
Huh. Okay.
So also the harmony here is very simple. You only have two chords, E minor and A minor. So you would call, I'm not sure how to say this in English. So if you have the key, it is in the root is E minor, then A minor would be the fourth, because E, F, G, A. A is the fourth note. If you start counting from E, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
So it's 1, 4, 1. This is the chord structure.
Huh.
And then the rhythmical structure is this is a 4, and we call it a 4/4
4/4. Okay.
beat division.
Okay.
Which means that there are 4 notes, four beats in one bar. Like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's one bar.
Okay.
And then after that comes the next bar, and you start again with 1 counting. So and 4, 4. The second number 4.
Yeah. 4/4. Yeah.
4/4. The last 4 stands for the quarter note. So because it's called a quarter note because it's exactly a quarter of one bar. So a quarter note, there can fit 4 of them in one bar. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 quarter notes.
Huh. Huh.
So these are four quarter notes, for example. 1, 2, 3, 4. But if I play half notes, a half note is exactly half of a 4/4 bar. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are half notes. And whole notes is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1,
Okay.
2, 3, 4.
Okay.
So 4 quarter notes is 4 by 4.
4 by 4.
Which means 4 quarter notes is 1 bar. And this is the most common bar division there is in Western music.
Okay.
Yeah, not just classical music, but Western music in general.
Okay.
But there's also, for example, 3/4, 3 by 4.
Yes,
And
yes.
there it could be like this: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it's actually 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's a 3 by 4.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. These are the two most common ones.
Okay. So, well.